I did it. I finally did it.
The audio video erection selection media rack
has been completed. It has been months of agony and patience, but also some procrastination. See, what I mean by I did it was that I actually finished this 6 months ago, but I'm finally just getting around to making the video about it. And with this video, I'm actually getting close to the part where this entire office is almost done. The only videos that are left to be remade are the server rack, like the main server rack redo, and then the full office tour. I was originally going to make a video about the entire Mac Mini setup, but I ended up not recording any of it because I was just too excited to put it all together. So there'll be a little TikTok about that, but that's about it. So we're just going to go back in time a little bit, and I will fill you in on what you've missed so far. All right, so part one started off by showing almost every single setup that I've had since 2008. Then we covered the disassembly of the desk, the PCs, and then pretty much redoing all of the cable management. We also covered the cleanup and the planning, which was going to be the planning of how the desk was going to be laid out, how the rack was going to be played out. Part two actually covered the construction of the new desk as well as the server rack build. And after the rack was built, I pretty much tore apart almost everything and redid all of the cable management. And part three was doing a case swap on the PC, getting it out of its current case and into its rack mount case. And then I modded the case a little bit. We test fitted some parts and then some other stuff as well. So unfortunately, that video was completely cut short by hardware malfunction, data loss, and then data recovery. So that video ended with me pretty much getting all of my data back. Shout out to Cronus True Image for holding it down. By the way, when's the last time you backed up your fucking computer? Huh? Did you back it up? Yeah? You got two-factor authentication?
It's backup checking time!
So before I go into going over the rack, I want to clue you in on a couple of adjustments that I made. The water cooler that I had put in, that had to go. I swapped in a Noctua low-profile air cooler, which not only did a better job of cooling, it also freed up a lot of space as well. And it made it just look like way cleaner inside. One of the things that I didn't document very well was putting the entire rack together. There was a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of test fitting, and it ended up not working out. So once I had put it together, which was shown in part three, I ended up taking the entire thing apart, redoing all of the cable management, and then finding a new layout. The original layout that I had in mind, which I thought was perfect, did not work at all. Okay, you're all caught up. Let's continue. I'm going to take you through the media rack from start to finish, go over all the specs, let you know the hardware I used, and then show you some B-roll maybe. I don't think I shot any additional B-roll. Of course, a list of all of the parts can be found in the video description. Any Amazon links are going to be affiliate links, so be sure to buy 5 of everything to feed my addiction to peach rings. And we'll start with the rack and then we'll work our way down. The rack is a Startech 12U open frame with the model number of 4-post rack 12A. And this is a, quote, adjustable depth rack. And what I mean by that is that it's a fixed max depth of 35.9 inches. However, there's an additional set of rails that come with the rack that can be mounted closer than the 35.9. So if you have some shelves or some equipment that aren't quite max depth, this rack can support them. And the rack does come with wheels in case you want to wheel it around, which I do. This thing is sturdy as hell and I love it. Cost me about 240 bucks. The case that I chose for the streaming PC is the Rosewill RVS R4000. This rack came with 2 120mm stock fans in the front and 2 80mm in the back. I replaced the fans in the front of the case with 3 120mm Cooler Master RGB fans, and in the back with Noctua 80mm. I chose this case because it allowed a lot of airflow to come through the front of the case after I had removed all of the hard drive cages. So airflow was excellent. We really need more cases like this for gamers and streamers in the future. The innards of the streaming PC are nothing special, but it's kept me afloat for quite some time. The CPU is a Ryzen 1700X, 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, an Asus ROG Strix B350F motherboard, an EVGA 1660 Ti, and a plethora of M.2 and SATA SSDs, and a few 3TB mechanical hard drives as well. I have 4 capture cards for the stream PC. My primary capture card is the AverMedia Live Gamer 4K MK2, Secondary is an Elgato HD60S, an external Elgato HD60, and then I also run an external AverMedia Extreme Cap U3. I modded the rear of this case with 6 additional USB ports, 4 USB 2.0 and 2 USB 3.2, and these were just because I had so many additional peripherals, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. For storage, I bought a Navepoint server cabinet deep drawer. It has a key to keep it locked if you want to put your weed in there, and is a great addition to the rack. Pull-out drawer is very smooth. It has a maximum internal depth of 13 inches and is 2U. Below the drawer is my trusty DBX286S. I've had this piece of audio equipment longer than any other piece of audio hardware. It's an amazing budget preamp and vocal processor, great for all kinds of mics. Comes packed with many signal chain features like a compressor, an enhancer, a de-esser, and a noise gate / expander. On the bottom of the rack, I have my 2 trusty Behringer 1204 mixers. Now, one of them is a regular 1204 and the other is a 1204FX. When I was starting out with audio, it was much easier to separate the roles of audio in and audio out into 2 separate mixers. Holding up the 2 mixers is the Startech 2U sliding shelf, and it supports up to 50 pounds, has an adjustable depth, and is very smooth. This shelf is awesome. Beware, it's $90, but it slides out, and that is priceless. Anyways, it has a minimum depth of 20 inches and a maximum depth of 30 inches. But knackers, you said the depth of the rack was 39 inches. Well, if you were listening, you know I mentioned the adjustable posts that you can put towards the rear and change the minimum depth. Heading to the rear of the case, we have a few additional pieces of audio equipment. The Behringer UM2 is the recording and playback device for my gaming PC. On top of that, there are also 2 Behringer hum destroyers and a cloud lifter that I use for my RE320. Last but not least, I've got a Startech 9-outlet 1U surge protector that provides power to all of my devices in the rack. It is not a power conditioner, although I wish it was. I've been extremely happy with this rack. If I had to improve one thing, I wish I could have 4 to 8 more units of storage in the rack. I've thought about cutting my desk short and getting another rack that was taller and putting both my gaming and my streaming PCs in the rack. But I love my Corsair case so much that I haven't had the balls to do that yet. Plus, I really just need a new desk. Really badly, actually. Have you seen how much the ends of this desk bow? Well, my friends, that is it for this video. Thank you for sticking around this long, and I hope you enjoyed it. The next setup project tour is going to be a revamp of my main server rack. I really need to move some things around, make some room for new hardware, and organize what's already there. Possibly plan for a new NAS, firewall, and most likely a switch in the very near future. Daddy needs to get on that 10 gig internet game. You know what I'm saying? All right, see you later, guys. Thank you. If you aren't packing your meat with cheese, are you really living? That's what I'm saying, dude. You got to take your meat, wrap it in cheese, season it, shove it in, love spice. I'll take beef rubs all day. Come on in here and rub the beef. Absolutely.